Yeah, Elliot, I would just ask you. I'll be honest. I am surprised that Quinn Hughes' deal is not done yet, and I know the numbers have gone up, and that changes things. But I was under the feel. I just felt that was one of those ones that would get done quicker. It's not to say that he won't sign, but at the end of the day, it's not done yet, so it's still not done. Do you think that as time has gone by, that these, like you said, the Hughes brothers are out, they're talking about. The feelings, could they change because of that? I mean, the more time that goes by, there's obviously more room for a lot of different decisions.
I'll say this, EJ. I will worry about this if it's not done by the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not done by the start, that's just my personal feeling. If it's not done by the start of the season, then I'll start to say, hey, what's going on here?
Something is seriously changing around Quinn Hughes, and the Minnesota Wild may have a much bigger problem than anyone expected. The contract everyone thought was almost certain still isn't done, while New Jersey keeps appearing in the background. And now, the biggest question is no longer how much Hughes will make. It's whether Minnesota can keep him at all. Quinn Hughes was supposed to be one of the easiest contract decisions for the Minnesota Wild. They traded a huge package to get him. Hughes played at an elite level, and the Wild made it clear they wanted him to stay. But now, there is still no new contract, and that silence is getting harder to ignore. Hughes is entering the final season of his current 6-year contract. That deal carries a $7.85 million salary cap hit, and after the 2026-2027 season, he can become an unrestricted free agent. That means Minnesota has a very important decision to make before they reach that point. The Wild did not trade for Hughes just to watch him walk away for nothing. Friedman has been very clear about his own prediction. He believes Hughes will sign a 3-year extension with Minnesota worth $18 million per season. That would be a massive contract and would make Hughes one of the highest paid players in the NHL. But there is one big problem. That prediction was supposed to happen much earlier, and the deal still has not been announced. Friedman has also said he is not ready to panic. In early August, he explained that he would start to worry if Hughes still did not have an extension by the start of the season. That deadline is now becoming very important. The longer this goes without an agreement, the more questions fans will ask. Is this simply a slow negotiation, or is there a real difference between what Hughes wants and what Minnesota wants? Minnesota has already made its position clear. Team owner Craig Leipold said the Wild want to re-sign Hughes and would prefer a long-term deal. But Leipold also acknowledged that Hughes could want a shorter contract. That difference matters because Hughes has another major reason to think carefully about his future. His brothers, Jack and Luke Hughes, are both with the New Jersey Devils. Minnesota has already shown that it wants him. The Wild traded for him because they believe he can help lead the team for years. But Hughes has control over his future, and a short contract could give him much more freedom later. That is why Friedman's 3-year prediction is so interesting. An $18 million per year deal would give Hughes an enormous salary while keeping his next decision closer than a long-term contract would. If Hughes believes his value could become even higher, a shorter deal could make sense for him. But from Minnesota's side, a longer deal would provide much more security. That is where the two sides could have different goals. There's also the salary cap question. Minnesota already has major money committed to its top players, so any Hughes extension has to fit into the team's long-term plans. The Wild cannot simply look at Hughes' next contract by itself. They have to think about the rest of their roster, future contracts, and how much room they need to build a championship team around him. And then there's New Jersey. Hughes has a special connection to the Devils because his brothers Jack and Luke play there. That makes the idea of all 3 brothers playing together incredibly tempting for fans. But fans should be careful here. A family connection is not proof of a trade request, and there's no confirmed report that Quinn Hughes has demanded to go to New Jersey. For Minnesota, the best outcome is obvious. Get the contract finished and remove the drama. The Wild already paid a huge price to acquire Hughes. Losing him after 1 season would be a disaster for the organization. But the team also cannot force Hughes to sign a deal he does not want. That is why the negotiations matter so much. The biggest pressure point could come when training camp and the regular season get closer. If Hughes enters the season without an extension, every mistake, every trade rumor, and every comment from the player or the team will get extra attention. A strong start could help calm the situation. But if the team struggles, the contract questions could become much louder. This is also why Friedman's comments matter. He is not saying Hughes is definitely leaving Minnesota. His reporting gives fans a picture of where the negotiations may be heading, but the final decision belongs to Hughes and the Wild. Until a contract is signed, nobody outside that room can know exactly what is happening. So right now, there are three real possibilities. Hughes could sign the short extension Friedman predicted. Minnesota and Hughes could agree on a longer contract that keeps him there for many years. Or the two sides could fail to reach an agreement, which would make every future trade rumor much more dangerous. And that is what makes this situation so fascinating. Minnesota has already made its move. It got the superstar defenseman it wanted. Now the Wild have to convince him that his future belongs in Minnesota. Because if they cannot do that, the biggest question will no longer be what Quinn Hughes is worth. It will be where the NHL's elite defenseman wants to play next.
Yeah.
Something is clearly changing around Quinn Hughes. And now one of the NHL's biggest insiders has put a line in the sand. His contract with Minnesota still isn't done, but Elliotte Friedman says there is one point when he will finally start to worry. That moment is getting closer, and what happens next could completely change the pressure around the Wild. Quinn Hughes was supposed to be one of the biggest contract stories of the NHL offseason, but the deal with the Minnesota Wild still has not been completed. Now, Elliotte Friedman has given fans something very important to watch. Friedman said he would start to worry if Hughes does not have an extension by the start of the season. That does not mean Hughes is leaving Minnesota. It means the situation becomes much more serious if the season begins without a new deal. And this is why that comment matters. Friedman is one of the most connected NHL reporters, so when he gives a clear point like the start of the season, people pay attention. Until now, there has been time for the Wild and Hughes' side to work things out. But once training camp and the regular season arrive, an unsigned star defenseman becomes a much bigger story. Every question about his future gets louder, and every game could bring more pressure. Hughes also has a very strong reason to ask for a major contract. In his first season with Minnesota, he scored 76 points in 74 regular season games with 7 goals and 69 assists. Then he added 15 points in 11 playoff games. Those numbers show why the Wild made such a huge move to bring him in and why keeping him is so important to the team's future. But there's another part of this story that makes the timing even more interesting. Reports say Minnesota has been looking at a longer deal, while a shorter contract has also been discussed as a possible path. Friedman previously projected a 3-year deal worth around $18 million per season, but that is a projection, not a confirmed demand from Hughes or his agent. Fans should keep that difference clear, because no final contract has been announced. There is another reason this situation deserves attention. The clock is not just about the season anymore. The new CBA could also affect the number of years Minnesota can offer. According to the latest report, the maximum contract term will drop to 7 years after September 16. That means the Wild and Hughes have an important decision to make before that change takes effect. If they want a longer deal, waiting could make things much harder. For Minnesota, keeping Hughes should be a major priority. He is not simply another defenseman on the roster. He is one of the most important players on the team and has already shown that he can produce at an elite level. His 76 points in 74 regular season games were followed by 15 more points in only 11 playoff games. That kind of production gives Hughes a very strong position in these negotiations. But there is a big question on the other side. What kind of contract does Hughes actually want? A long-term deal would give him security and could make him a key part of Minnesota for many years. A shorter deal could give him another chance to enter the market later, when the salary cap may be higher. Reports have mentioned different possibilities, including a 3-year bridge deal. But there is still no confirmed final agreement, so fans should be careful with rumors about the exact contract. This is also where the former Canucks connection makes the story more interesting. Hughes spent the first part of his NHL career in Vancouver and became the Canucks captain before moving to Minnesota. Because of his history in Vancouver, every major update about his future is going to bring back questions about what went wrong between the player and his former team. But right now, the focus is different. Hughes is already with Minnesota, and the main question is whether the Wild can make him part of their long-term plan. And imagine what happens if the season begins and there is still no contract. Suddenly, every question becomes bigger. Reporters will ask Hughes about his future. Fans will study every comment. Opposing teams will watch the situation closely. And Minnesota will have to deal with contract questions while trying to focus on winning hockey games. That is exactly why Friedman's warning matters. He did not say the situation is falling apart. He simply gave everyone a clear point where concern should begin. Right now, the smartest conclusion is that the Wild still have time to get this done. There's no confirmed trade request, no confirmed decision by Hughes to leave, and no confirmed contract number. What we do have is an elite defenseman without an extension, a team that clearly wants to keep him, and an NHL insider saying the start of the season is when he would begin to worry. So now the pressure moves to Minnesota and Hughes. Can Bill Guerin and the Wild find an agreement before this becomes a daily distraction? Will Hughes choose security with a long deal, or keep his options open with a shorter contract? And most importantly, will this extension be finished before Friedman's warning line arrives? Because if it isn't, this quiet contract story could suddenly become one of the biggest NHL stories of the season. The Maple Leafs have made a decision that almost nobody saw coming. They hired someone trusted by one of hockey's greatest stars for more than 20 years. And this move could be much bigger than it looks. Is this the final piece to end years of disappointment, or is Toronto quietly preparing for something even more surprising? The Toronto Maple Leafs have made one of the most interesting moves of the offseason, but it is not a trade, a free agent signing, or a coaching change behind the bench. Instead, the team hired Andy O'Brien to lead its sport performance department. At first, this might not sound like a huge story. After all, most fans pay attention to goals, assists, and blockbuster trades. But when you learn who Andy O'Brien is and why so many people around the NHL respect him, this move suddenly becomes much bigger than it first appears. Andy O'Brien is one of the most respected performance experts in hockey. For more than 20 years, he has worked closely with Sidney Crosby, helping one of the greatest players in NHL history stay in top condition year after year. Crosby has played through long seasons, recovered from injuries, and remained one of the league's best players well into his career. While Crosby deserves the credit for his success, O'Brien has long been an important part of his training and preparation behind the scenes. But Crosby is not the only star connected to O'Brien. Over the years, he has also worked with elite NHL players like Nathan MacKinnon and John Tavares. He has also been involved with professional organizations that value modern sports science and player development. That experience has made him one of the most trusted names in hockey performance. So why do the Maple Leafs want him? The answer is simple. Toronto is trying to improve every part of the organization, not just the players on the ice. Since John Chayka became the team's general manager, he has focused on making smart changes behind the scenes. Instead of looking for quick fixes, the organization is investing in areas that can help the team over many years. Andy O'Brien's new job is much bigger than running workouts in the gym. He will oversee the entire sport performance department. That includes strength and conditioning, sports science, nutrition, recovery programs, injury prevention, rehabilitation, and other performance systems designed to help players stay healthy and perform at their best throughout the long NHL season. Think about how important that really is. Every season, injuries, fatigue, and recovery can change the outcome of games. A player who recovers faster can practice more, perform better, and stay on the ice longer. Even small improvements in strength, endurance, and recovery can make a difference over an 82-game season. Toronto believes these small advantages can add up in a big way. To understand why this move matters, you have to look at how hockey has changed. Years ago, teams focused mostly on talent and hard work. Today, the best organizations also invest in sports science. They study how players train, recover, eat, sleep, and prepare for every game. These small details can make a big difference over a long NHL season. That is where Andy O'Brien's experience becomes valuable. His job is not to score goals or coach during games. His job is to help create an environment where players can perform at their highest level. Better recovery can help players feel stronger during busy schedules. Better conditioning can help them stay fast late in games. Better injury prevention may help keep key players on the ice instead of watching from the sidelines. General Manager John Chayka appears to be thinking about the future, not just the next few months. Since taking over hockey operations, he has continued making changes throughout the organization. Instead of focusing on one big headline, he has worked on improving different parts of the team behind the scenes. The hiring of Andy O'Brien fits that same plan. It is another step toward building a stronger foundation for long-term success. Of course, this move does not guarantee a Stanley Cup. No performance coach can promise championships, and fans know that winning still depends on the players, the coaches, and what happens on the ice. But successful teams often look for every possible advantage. If better preparation helps players stay healthier and perform more consistently, that could become an important part of Toronto's future. Many fans are especially interested because of O'Brien's long relationship with Sidney Crosby. For more than 20 years, Crosby has remained one of hockey's biggest stars despite injuries and the physical demands of the NHL. While Crosby's success comes from his own talent and dedication, many people believe O'Brien's performance programs have helped him stay in elite condition throughout his career. That reputation is one reason this hiring has created so much excitement. The Maple Leafs also have a mix of experienced veterans and young talent. A strong performance program can benefit every player in different ways. Veterans may recover faster after games, while younger players can build healthy training habits early in their careers. If everyone improves even a little, the team as a whole could become stronger over an entire season. Now the attention turns to what happens next. One simple photo has Maple Leafs fans talking again, and the internet is filled with one big question. Why were Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews standing together after everything that happened? The images spread fast. Emotions exploded, and fans started wondering if this reunion means more than just friendship. But before jumping to conclusions, there's an important part of this story that almost everyone is missing. Mitch Marner may now wear the colors of the Vegas Golden Knights, but one recent post reminded hockey fans of his years with the Toronto Maple Leafs. During the NHL offseason, Marner shared a group of photos from his summer on social media. At first, the pictures looked like normal offseason memories, but one photo quickly caught everyone's attention. It showed Marner standing with Austin Matthews and several former Maple Leafs teammates during Frederik Andersen's wedding celebration. Within hours, the picture was being shared across hockey pages, and fans everywhere started talking about what it could mean. For many Maple Leafs fans, seeing Marner and Matthews together again brought back a lot of memories. The two stars spent years playing on the same team. They celebrated exciting wins, fought through tough playoff losses, and became two of the biggest faces of the franchise. Even though Marner has now started a new chapter with the Vegas Golden Knights, the friendship between the former teammates was clear in the wedding photos. The smiles and relaxed moments show that time together away from the ice can still bring old teammates together. The wedding itself made the reunion even more special. Frederik Andersen was not just another teammate. During his years with Toronto, Andersen became one of the team's most trusted goalies and shared many important moments with both Marner and Matthews. Over the years, Andersen and Marner have spoken warmly about their friendship. Even after Andersen left Toronto, they stayed in touch. That made his wedding the perfect place for former teammates to meet again, celebrate together, and enjoy time away from hockey. As the photos spread online, fans quickly began creating their own stories. Some people wondered if the reunion meant Marner missed Toronto. Others asked if Matthews wanted his former teammate back with the Maple Leafs one day. A few even suggested that something bigger could be happening behind the scenes. But it is important to separate excitement from facts. There has been no announcement about Marner returning to Toronto. There has been no report of contract talks, trade discussions, or secret meetings. The gathering happened because close friends came together to celebrate a wedding, not because of NHL business. It is also important to understand what these photos do not mean. Since Marner joined the Vegas Golden Knights, some fans have hoped he could return to Toronto one day. Others have wondered if he still keeps in touch with his former teammates.